From the goddesses of ancient myth to today's curanderas, witches, priestesses, and healers, women and sacred plants have been intimately connected. And as entheogens and psychedelics have made their way into the modern world, women have played vital roles in research, science, academia, and advocacy. Yet, despite the undeniable impact we've had, far too often, women's perspectives have not been considered. Our contributions have been minimalized, and our voices have not been heard. Now is the time for this to change. Now is the time for us to raise the divine feminine to its rightful place in the entheogenic future, in the powerful shift we're seeing in the psychedelic world. We know we can't do this alone. We know it takes all genders, all ages and races and cultures to come together, to empower each other, to listen to each other, and to co-create a truly inclusive, just, and balanced psychedelic future. But we can take action. We can speak up. We can raise and amplify our voices, women's voices, in the fold of the entheogenic conversation. Listen to us now as we share our stories, our hopes, our dreams, our frustrations. Listen, learn, and join us as we raise the divine feminine and create a truly just and inclusive psychedelic future for us all.
When I think about the future of this space and the role of the divine feminine within it, I see us connecting across the bridges, across the different sectors within this space, or ecosystem as one might call it. I see therapists and doctors and clinicians. I see the medicine women, the bush women. I see the Reiki masters. I see those who hold space for speaking. I see those who are growing and producing the medicines. And everyone in between, supporting each other and leaning on each other and relying on each other for a holistic healing experience. Knowing that we do not exist within vacuums, knowing that we are not disconnected from each other, knowing that there are not rules that say we cannot confide in each other's brilliance to provide the best possible care and future for humanity. And so us women folk, those of the divine feminine, it is important for us to remember that we are connected and that we do not have to prescribe to any rules, spoken or unspoken. And usually it's the unspoken ones that have the most impact, but that it is so important for us to reach across what might be boundaries, to walk across those bridges, to meet each other, to lean on each other, and to also know that we don't hold the absolute answer as individuals. And that when we talk about bringing together these models of wellness, that it begins with you reaching out to someone who's not already in your arena or your field or within the bubble that you are within this larger ecosystem of wellness and healing. And so let us remember our interconnectedness and our dependency on our collective intelligence and wisdom.
I envision a world where women serve as the majority of leadership roles in both corporate and community interests, and it is critical that we are at the table as we create this once-in-a-lifetime industry.
What is my vision of women in psychedelics? Yes. This is 2022. This is the beginning, the dawning of the age of Aquarius. So yeah, this is the time of the sacred feminine, and we are liberating ourselves. We're not waiting for somebody to liberate us. No. This is our collective liberation, and the plant medicines and the mushroom medicines and all of nature is calling to us. And so this is the time that we get to really shine. And we do so by being in partnership with the earth spirits, with the plants and trees and mushroom spirits, with the animal spirits, right here, below and around us. It's really quite extraordinary to have this partnership. And forever, women have been the herbalists, and forever we have been the teachers and walking this medicine path as medicine women, with a few very good medicine men. And but the medicine men generally, they have that part of them that takes action in the world. So they write the books, and they teach the schools, and they start the businesses, and they're very successful, and that's wonderful. But women haven't embodied their sacred masculine. We've been doing our work, loving what we do, and not needing to bring it out there, just keeping it local, teaching our grandmother to granddaughter to our communities, and sharing the medicine and the lore, the wisdom keeping, the earth spirit keeping. So this is the time also for women to embody the sacred masculine, to be able to support our vision and give it action in the world. I believe that the plant medicine revival, this renaissance of psychedelics, the earth is calling to us, and she's telling us to come into partnership with the earth and with each other and with the one. So I think this is a wonderful time for us to step up and to shine, and to know when we have to shapeshift, to know when we have to go between the mists, to be safe, and then to carry our medicine forward underground, coming up as we do, as the mushrooms do, into communities, and then go back underground to connect. So I think these connections are extraordinary, and really blessing the awakening of the divine feminine and divine masculine at this time, within us and between us and with us and the planet Earth.
I feel that one of the most powerful things that we can do as women is to slow down and to listen to our bodies and to learn to speak in energy and to trust whatever it is that we hear is the right thing, it's the right choice for us, and to act from that place with full confidence and sovereignty. So the change that we're looking for is an inside job.
I was born to a medicine woman from a lineage of medicine women and medicine men. And I was named after a medicine woman who was murdered during the pogroms. This is my ancestral path. And we're told that this is a pivotal time, but we're always asked to pivot between the ancestral wounds and the ancestral gifts. And the psychedelic container is a beautiful place to lean into the ancestral gifts of imagination, intuition, and perception. This is what it looks like to be in the future of the divine feminine. We birth, we take care of the sick, we hold space and sit with the dying, and we've done this for thousands and thousands of years. I think I had my period for close to 500 times, and I've never had a mycelial network as large as my box of tampons. But that doesn't stop me from feeling good. And I wasn't waiting to feel good. And I don't want you to wait to feel good either. I want you to feel good right now, because you create with every thought. And this is how we do it. We're not waiting for universal health care. We're not waiting for universal child care, when it's more likely that you can have a psychedelic experience in Texas than it is that you could have an abortion in Texas. We know that things are moving and they're shape-shifting right where we're standing. So we lean into the thought of what it would feel like to feel good. And this is the place from where we create. This is the future of psychedelics, and this is the future of the divine feminine.
We can't even continue this entheogenic psychedelic renaissance conversation if mothers and women and girls are in fear of being incarcerated for serving, cultivating, and eating medicine. Period. It baffles me that this is not in the forefront of the conversation. Why have pregnant women been written off from study and research? Why has postpartum depression not been at the forefront? Why do we have such little knowledge about how this medicine can powerfully impact not just individuals, but our species as a whole? There are too many women and mothers and people who have just given birth that are suffering, and that is impacting our entire species, that is impacting the way that generations and epigenetic knowledge and wisdom gets passed down. And mostly it's because there's a lack of education, because nobody wants to up and talk about this openly. And a lot of the women facilitators who have made the decisions to incorporate entheogens into their pregnancy, birth, postpartum, breastfeeding, and motherhood experience are in fear of jeopardizing their entire family life for fear of incarceration. And so I think we can't even continue on this conversation of equity, inclusion, science, research, unless we completely decriminalize and legally protect mothers, women, teenage girls, and the whole family for that matter. It's extremely frustrating. It's extremely frustrating that large-scale organizations can serve medicine and the people cannot.
My vision for the future of using these plant medicines and psychedelics for the future is about embodying feminine energy. I feel that's what our current system is lacking. It's so structured, it's so finite, it's so power over, not power with, and the essence of feminine energy and how I think we can transcend these current limitations is with inclusion, nurturing, being compassionate, once again being receptive, open to other ideas and others' perspectives. To me, that creates a sense of safety that is essential for healing. And I think embodying these feminine qualities is going to be something that's going to really help transform the future of how we operate in this space and in the world in general.
Peace and magical blessings. The ancient ones say that the women will lead the healing among the tribes. Inside of us are the powers of love and strength given by the moon and earth. For we are the lighthouse and the dark womb. Honor and peace to the divine feminine. Ashe. Ashe, Asheo.
As a feminist and a practitioner for 40 years, I would like to say that what I have seen happening is women coming together and lifting each other up and creating community. And my vision for women in the psychedelic space in the future is an even more concentrated form of collaboration. I really believe that when we get into that heart space with each other, when we connect with Mother Earth, that is where our strength lies, and that's where we can make the most impact, I think, in what's happening in the world. So I encourage all of us to lean in and to connect as sisters and as support for each other. I really think that this is the core of our voice in this space. I think this is the core of what we can offer more than anything is the deep understanding that we are all one and that the work that we do as women has incredible value. So the more we support each other in that, the more things will flow in a more vibrant, and loving way. That's my opinion.
This is my vision for the future of women in psychedelics. We're revered, we're recognized, we're included. We're not living in fear of being judged, being silenced, not being taken seriously. We're not scared for our physical safety anywhere in the world. We speak out and up for what we believe in. We take pride in our innate wisdom, and we wholeheartedly embrace our divine femininity. Now, there are many things we, as a collective, can do to make that happen. I believe the most important thing is to continue to work on ourselves, to do our own inner healing. This means deconditioning from societal programming, deleting our self-limiting beliefs and self-worth issues, because that's the challenge we all need to overcome, to step into who we're meant to be and what we're meant to do in this world. Mending our relationship with money, because we can't help others when we're coming from lack. Being seen, being heard, taking up space, because it's not a zero-sum game. You taking up space doesn't mean there's any less for me. Humanity has never lived in more abundance than today. And lastly, finding our tribe, because community and connection is a foundational need to not only survive, but to thrive. The time for women to rise is now. So let's elevate the divine feminine and co-create this bright psychedelic future together.
The future of women in psychedelics. Well, I speak to my future in this space, and I know I'm here to work with high-level executives that have a great impact and influence in the world, and I'm here to help them heal and raise consciousness and push the human potential and to embrace and develop that divine feminine within. As I do so, it's important that I step into my potential and my power in letting my voice be heard and speaking clearly and having those courageous conversations that we've avoided for so long, that I'm really honoring the divine feminine within. And as I do, I hold space for others to do the same.
In my opinion, the future for women in psychedelics starts with community. We have to continue building each other up rather than give into a divisive patriarchal pattern. We must center our sisters of color and indigenous sisters in an effort to rise to the forefront of this industry. We need to create more pockets of funding to bring some studies and trials featuring research specifically for women, and together we can move mountains.
So I am a healing artist and microdosing coach here in the Northern California area. And we find ourselves in a very, very unique, exciting moment where so much is changing so quickly, and we get to be part of that change. So there is an emergence, a powerful reemergence of the feminine being brought back into our healing arts and practices, and a return to the humanity into our healing systems. So for centuries now, the feminine has been suppressed, repressed, and in favor of, clients have become numbers, data sets, prescription recipients, and we've really lost the sense of the feminine and how we care for people, how we help people heal. So when I speak to the return of feminine, I believe there will be a return in terms of listening, healing as invitation, healing as co-creation, healing as a participatory relationship that's individual and based on each unique person. For the last several decades in our managed care, pharmaceutical industrial complex, it has been all about efficiency, sameness, one size fits all, cookie cutter, and it's not working. Despite our great intelligence and our great technology and our unrivaled innovative capacities in terms of pharmaceuticals, we find ourselves as a society sicker than ever. So it's time to do something new, to remember our past, to get back to our roots, And that means bringing the feminine and the masculine back into balance in all our systems. So how do we do that? I believe we remain open. I believe we support women in leadership in the healing arts. We support women's voices. We give women credit. We give nature credit owed. None of the substances we work with are to be owned. You know, nature owns itself as its own creation that we are in partnership with, that we should be in reverence of and protection for. So in all of our interactions with ourselves, with our clients, and with the medicines, we can restore a sense of the feminine, invitation, listening, co-creation, which I believe is the future to our healing, both as individuals as well as collectively and for the planet.
My vision is one where we aren't having this conversation anymore. My vision is one where Indigenous voices are being heard and listened to, and they are guiding us. My vision is one where those who are capitalizing on the medicine are also working with the medicine. My vision is one where BIPOC folk, Indigenous folk, and women are included in conversation and in our teams. They're included in our content, in research, in conferences as speakers. My vision is one where we take the lessons and the learnings from the divine feminine that we often experience in ceremony and not only apply them to our personal lives, but also apply them to our company culture. My vision is one where we are really looking at this as not a psychedelic quote unquote industry, but as an inclusive space. And so we can change the narrative. I think we can do that by being curious, by having the difficult conversations now, and also by being gentle with each other. No cancel culture, no call out culture, none of that, because in my opinion, that is doing the opposite of what the medicine teaches us. So yeah, really leaning into those things so that we can change the narrative together and having the difficult conversations now so that we don't have to have them in the future.
People of color and women are underrepresented in the psychedelic movement, in the research body, amongst participants, in the general drug recreational culture, and in the decriminalization and legalization movement. I believe that by women coming together and sharing their stories about their personal experiences with psychedelics, they can engage in more self-reflective conversations, as well help to normalize the talk around psychedelics and women's mental health.
Hi everybody, I'm excited to talk with you for a brief moment about where I see women in the future of psychedelics, of psychedelic healing, psychedelic activism, psychedelic research. I see women all over the place. That's all I see is a whole bunch of women and a whole bunch of men working together. I see yin and yang and the balance of the two working together. I think the most important thing that men can do, and other women also, is recognize the leadership of women. It may look different than the leadership of men, but see it, recognize it, allow time and space for it. That might mean quieting down, that might be listening more, that might be seeking it out. But it is there, it is powerful, it is strong, and it is ready to lead with men for our future.
Hello, I'm Jyoti Ma. I'm standing here on the sacred territories of the Pomo and the coastal Miwok people in this beautiful redwood forest that circles up around me. And I'm going to do a shout out to just remind us all that the great divine feminine is marching through each and every one of us. For the Mother Earth herself is calling us into full activation to walk with her, to listen carefully to her and the instructions that she will give through her intelligence of nature. For this is a moment that she is in her ascension process, and we are all here to serve that process and to do it with our humility and our care and our hearts, listening carefully to that direction that will bring us fully in the new dawn that has been prophesied by original people for generations and generations. Let's all walk together, unified in oneness, with our hearts wide open, our minds still, and our ways of gentle devotion flowing us forward.
Women have always played an essential role in entheogenic medicine, from Maria Sabina to Anne Shulgin to the people in this room right now. And now I think we recognize a more expanded vision of the possibilities of women in entheogenic medicine, not by just recognizing the select few voices that are heard, but by all of our voices, and expanding our idea of what we need for that. We need community. We need each voice together with respect, integrity, compassion, and love. Whether you identify as feminine and are transgender, a they, whether you recognize the divine feminine and masculine aspects within the self and see the integral portion that each plays. We all know to succeed, to raise the collective consciousness, we need to raise all of us. And as each voice shines brighter, we all shine.
These are our voices. These are our visions. And this is just the beginning. We all have work to do together to co-create a psychedelic future in which the divine feminine and all genders, ages, races, and cultures are empowered to speak up, in which all contributions are recognized, revered, considered, and heard. Join us in the journey. Download the video now and add your voice. Female, male, young, old, black, white. What is your vision of a truly inclusive and balanced entheogenic future? And how can we collectively create it? Together, we can create the future we desire.